All right, so we're gonna get into the lighting on this video here. Now, I did spend about a day just setting up my materials like I showed you in the previous video, going into Photoshop and, basically layering everything up. So I went into Photoshop here. I've basically set up my whole little scenario. I'm reproducing an old Commodore 64 keyboard, which was one of the first computers I ever used. You can clearly see I got this all here. And then I've even added in a couple of other things that I did. Let me mute these here. Let me show you. I also made some black and white versions for the bump map. Click some of these off here. I've also made this version here, which is basically just black background with the white. And these whites, you plug this into the bump, or you can even do it into the displacement. And these are going to add in a little bit of, bump into the actual material. I'll quickly show you here. So this is my setup that I've got going on here. And you can clearly see here, I've got a little bit of bump actioning happening up here. Let me go ahead and boost up it is looking a little dark in this scene here for a moment because I'm just using an HDRI to light the scene. We're going to work on lighting right now, but I just want to quickly show you. So this is what I've got going here. I've spent about, like I said, a day on my materials, just assigning different materials inside of here. I got some roughness maps going. I've got some little minute details. So a little bit of bump here. Again, I got the bump map here up on the top. I made this little LED bulb light, which is just super, super easy. Nothing really, just a sphere. And then I add with the sphere on top. The one thing I do with these when I'm making these type of the spheres things, I have this sphere, which is glass. And then inside I put another sphere, which is going to be the actual light bulb here. So there's the actual lighting element. And then I come back here and here is the actual cover. So just to help me, get a little bit more realistic. And then I got this little fine detail here using, instead of trying to model all of this detail, the camera's not going to be that close, so I don't need to model it. Just use a Photoshop file. And you can see here, I've got these little black lines, and that's all that is. And then even here, we got that little white edge line there just to put, again, a little bit more details on there. So just, use the Photoshop file to really help you bring in a lot of details that you don't want to have to go through and model. This next section, we're going to go ahead and just get this lit up here. So I'm going to go ahead and kill off the HDRI, set that to 0. What we're going to do here, let me jump into my camera view. I don't have a camera set up, so we probably want to go ahead and get the camera set up. Let me go ahead and drop this back out. I'm probably going to go for something like a top-down straight view. So let's kind of go here. And then again, here I just have my camera preview on this side and then just kind of work until we can see what's happening here. What I'm actually going to do is zoom in, probably something like this, kind of a top-down shot. But I'm actually more of a fan of this kind of angle shot here, like this. So we can just get a little bit more, we can see a little bit more of what's happening with the keyboard here. Kind of set that up. I'm going to go ahead, I have it set up for an Instagram kind of photo, right? But I'm actually going to go ahead and change it to a 1920 by 1080. Let's just go, right, full HD, okay? So we can get the whole thing in there. So I got something like this set up here. I'm going to press Q to jump out of and then come back in here. Reset my keyboard there so allows me to freely move around here, and I got my camera on this side ready to roll. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll fire up the render on this side, and then we can see our LED light kind of this solo little beacon. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop in a light. I'm just gonna go mesh, and you can already see I do have a ground plane I just added in, so you can add that in. I'm gonna go to mesh lights. I'm gonna go to Octane area light. And I'm gonna go GZ it up, scale it up. Then I'm gonna jump into my Octane lighting here, kind of pop this open. There's my light here. I like to change this to press Shift S and change this to a black body emission so we can work with real world Kelvin scale here. How come we're not seeing the light? Here we go. We're not seeing the light because it's actually blocking the camera. So again, we can jump back in here, go to opacity, set that to 0, and there it is. So now we should be able to see it. There it is. And then our camera is shooting through the light. So again, the camera, that's why it looks blurry. You can see here, there is our camera. And it's actually shooting through the light. So I don't know why that does that, but so we just kind of zoom that up here on the top. Then I'm gonna come back here, make sure, okay, we're set at 100%, 6,500, I like that. Again, we're working at real well scale. So this light is literally 1 meter wide. So we need to bring that down. That's why it's super overblown out. So we can scale our light down, that. And what I like to do, again, I like to work as much as possible in real world scale. It just really helps to set off the render. Let's go in here. And then I come into scale. And I'm just going to put a 6 foot, 6 FT, 6 feet, right? Location, scale, properties. I want to go 6 FT. I don't know why it's not working. Turn off caps. 6 inches. Don't know. Anyways, so I guess we're just gonna scale it down. I don't know why it won't let me do inches. Normally I would just do like 6 feet, whatever. So we're gonna take our light. We're gonna scale our light down here because it was sitting at 1 meter, right? Again, something I learned from Glab Alexandri's lighting course is better to have the light close as possible to get that type of real world fall off. Again, it's kind of hard to, if the light is like 8 feet, 9 feet away, we wouldn't really have it that far away in real life, especially something like this where we're doing product animation here. And it's still looking a little bit hot. But what I'm going to do is I basically have a 100-watt light here, which I could bump this down to 75, right? Okay, 75-watt light there. And now it is pretty nice and big and soft. If you want to change that, you can come over here to your scale right here, and then you get a harder edge. Now we get a super harsh shadow there, you can see there. Or if we want a nice big soft box light in here, we just go ahead and switch that to 1. Boom, now it's the very big and soft. I'm gonna go half, I'm gonna go 0.5. I want a little bit of edge on there. Not that much, let's go maybe a little bit of an edge there. And then we can just basically, right now we're straight on, straight down, generic light sitting on top, right? And then I even like to scale it a little bit more like a light bulb size, right? Kind of something like that. And then I typically like to just duplicate it, GY, right? And then go one more time, duplicate it, GY, do it that time, shift duplicate, Y, 4. Okay, let's take 4, I'll take it. I'm gonna select all 4 of these. Again, just mimicking like fluorescent bulbs, how they would just, the lighting, you literally just try to mimic what's in the real world and it just helps. I'm gonna rotate this 90, something like that. I like that a lot. Again, it's nothing too crazy here. What I will do is stagger these. I'm gonna take this one and go GY, kind of move them up here. Take this guy, go GY, move him down here. Again, like it might be like in an office building, these are like just sitting on a desk, right? And now we see we get interesting patterns here on our shadows down here also. I mean, on our reflection. That's pretty much like, as much as like, you know, I want to do. And in this case, you can go way more advanced. I think I'm going to play with camera angles a little bit more and then maybe add in like a cable here. And then again, it really comes down to start to tweaking our shaders. And if you really wanted to get the look that you're going for, you got to spend a lot of time on the materials. And like I said, I've spent a day just setting up my materials alone. You can probably come in here and play with some interesting angles. Let me turn off this here so we can see what we got going. Yeah, that looks pretty interesting. To me, it does look a little bit glossy. So I might come into my materials and tweak that a little bit, make them a little bit more, have a little more diffuse. Like I like the diffusion on the key, on the board itself, but the keys look a little bit too glossy for me. So I might go in and tweak that. Let's jump back into our camera view. And that's what we got going on my camera view. I can set the depth of field, get that set up a little bit. Go ahead and come to my camera, turn back on my stuff here, mute that, come to camera. Again, I like to work in real world scale and try to get everything as close to real world. So I got a 90 millimeter, which will probably, we do have a 2.89 on a, what I like to do, hang on, let's go ahead and search this. So if you're ever in doubt of what a true camera spec, so what I like to do is here, I want to use a Canon 100 millimeter. So it tells me here, Canon 100 element f-stop 2.81. So that, you know, 2.81, that's a realistic camera setting. And let's go ahead and drop that into 100 millimeter. Again, just little things, these little 1% add up to helping your renders look that much, a little bit more, you know, realistic, you know, by using real settings and stuff like that. So we got a 2.8 and then boom, there it is. And I still think to me, the 2.8 is a little bit strong. That's the lowest. So what I would do, probably even go maybe a 4.8, double that. Again, I like my details. See, like we made the little bulb back there and it's like totally blurred out. So it's kind of like, you know, all that work is not going to be seen. Let's go 8.8. That's getting a little bit better. So again, we'll just come in here and really start to tweak. And actually, I should see where my depth of field focus is actually going. Turn off autofocus. And then let's go ahead and bring this in, scroll that down. And I like to right to where it starts to disappear into the keyboard. So I know it's kind of in there pretty well. And I can see I'm looking at this line here right there to focus on that. That actually looks pretty good. That doesn't look too bad at all. I might even back that off now. Let's go 5.6. So a little bit of depth and a little bit too blurry. So I think I liked where I had it at 8.8. Let's go back to the. All right, cool. So the next video, we're just going to get a little bit more into the details and really trying to touch everything up and really help to set it up.